Hi, I'm C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Reclaiming Your Health. I'm C.C. Péan, your host for this evening, for every Tuesday for the past almost 2 years now. It's been so fun getting with you all. The challenge of coming up with new recipes, taking your suggestions, and trying to think of what we can do. It's been really, really fun. And so here we are again this week. Before we get started, I was actually thinking to myself today, and I was discussing this with my husband and my aunt that's visiting, and I was saying that I kind of want to switch things up a little bit. So I welcome your suggestions on what we could do differently on Reclaiming Your Health. One evening we had some guests. There have been a couple of times where we've had a guest chef cooking along with me. But just try to think of something different to do that will engage you all. It could be that you submit questions the week before and we address them in the cooking segment. Or maybe I don't cook a week and we just kind of have a conversation and we just talk about, food issues and the healthiest foods to buy and the healthiest oils to buy and why we shouldn't use this oil and why we shouldn't use these particular products. What's so bad about MSG after all? So it could be things like that. So please send an email in to Reclaiming Your Health to the Reclamation Project and let us know what you think might be something that we could do a little bit differently. Maybe not every week, but maybe it'll be the first Tuesday of every month we do this particular thing. So I really want to get your input. So please send that. Thank you. So this evening, we are doing zucchini fritters. Now, one of the things you all hear me talk about all the time is that we should be eating food as close to its natural state as possible. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about you've taken a zucchini in this instance and you've grated that zucchini and you've added some herbs and some onions and things like that. You've added some chickpea flour, some turmeric, some simple spices, and that is what constitutes your meal and your food. We're trying to move away from processed, packaged, preservative, packed foods. Why? Because they're not best for us. We want to eat foods that are as close to its natural state because what that does is it's nutrient dense and it helps regenerate the body. It helps keeping all those things moving in our brain function and things like that. There's so many foods, there's so many items, vegetables, pulse, fruits, grains that are great for our bodies if we only ate them the way nature intended. And that way is the least messed around with. So this evening, we are making zucchini fritters. If you can see on the side camera, we have very simple ingredients. We have zucchini, beautiful, beautiful zucchini. We've got some cilantro. Of course, you can use parsley if you're not a cilantro person. My aunt is visiting and she can't stand cilantro. And my best friend can't stand cilantro, but cilantro is in this dish. We also have some green onion or scallion. We have white onion, we have some ginger, we have some garlic. We're going to do a little bit of jalapeno for some spice. And then we come over, we have some onion here. Said that already. And we have, so this is the scallion and the onion and everything just minced up really fine. When we go to our flours, we have some different flours today. We have semolina flour and we also have chickpea flour. In addition to that, we do have traditional all-purpose flour. But here's the thing, if you want to make this gluten-free, you can just completely use the chickpea flour because it is gluten-free. And it will not affect this menu, this recipe at all. Now, something else you could do, if you're not necessarily concerned about gluten-free, but you don't want to use white flour, you can use whole wheat flour as well. This will be a little bit more dense, but it's still going to be delicious. So remember that. Finally, to that, we have some baking powder. You have a little bit of oil that's going to go in there. We talked about the turmeric, which is going to give us our antioxidant packed curcumin. And remember to activate the curcumin so that it is bioabsorbable, so that our body can actually process it, take it in, break it down, and process it. We have to add just a pinch of black pepper. So we have our turmeric and we have our black pepper here. Okay, so one of the key things for this recipe to have a nice, light, and crispy fritter is to get rid of all the extra water that comes from our vegetables. Now, one of the great things about vegetables is that they are filled with water. So it's great if you're somebody who's trying to increase the water in your diet and you don't want to drink glass after glass after glass, you can eat things like zucchini, you can eat things like cucumber, and you can get a lot of water into your body. But when we're cooking, we don't quite want that. So let me show you what we're going to do. So we have our cucumber here, and we're just going to grate it. We're going to get like 2.5 cups, and I'm just grating it. Just grate very easily. Now, you may notice I did not take the skin off. Don't worry about it. The only time that you really have to worry about the skin on your zucchini is if it's old and if it's tough. But these are really nice zucchini. So we're not taking the skin off. Of course, it's your preference. You can take it off if you want to, but you don't have to. I also like it because it adds a little extra color to our final product. Okay? So let me show you what you're going to do. It's kind of similar if you tuned in the week that we did the grilled eggplant. If you recall, we put that in some salt. We put some salt on that. And the reason we did that was because that process draws out the extra salt. So similarly to what we did with the eggplant, we're going to shred our 2.5 cups, approximately 2 good-sized zucchini. And we're going to take salt, I would say maybe about a teaspoon, and you're going to sprinkle it over and just mix it in. You're going to set it aside for about 15 minutes. And in about 15 minutes, you're going to see, watch. You see that? Can you see that water coming off? All that water came out of the zucchini. And if that was left in the zucchini and it went into our fritter, we wouldn't have light, crispy fritters. So after you have done that, I'm going to take a clean dish towel. And I'm going to first squeeze it out of my hand, but to make sure I get all the liquid out, I'm going to put it in my dish towel, and I'm going to squeeze out that excess water. It really gave off a lot. And don't worry about the salt. It really comes out in the water. You don't have to worry about it, that you're taking in a whole bunch of salt. But look at all that liquid. Look at that. You don't want that. So we're getting rid of that. We have got it in our dish towel, and we're just going to close this up, and we're gonna twist it, and we're getting even more water out. Look at that. So this is key for the preparation of zucchini. Whenever zucchini is going to go in something that's going to hit a little bit of oil, and you want it light and crispy, whew, we're going to have a sweat here. All right, look at that. We've got even more liquid out. All right, so after we've done that, bowl here. We got a little bit of that liquid in here. We don't want to undo what we just did, so we'll dry that out. And I'm just gonna put, zucchini is gonna go in here, okay? That's our 2.5 cups. And this is gonna go real quick, all right? So to that, we're gonna add our 1/2 cup of chopped onion. I have 2 tablespoons of finely chopped cilantro, 2 tablespoons of finely chopped scallions, greens, the top part. And then I have about 2 teaspoons worth of minced jalapeno. That's all going in there. To that, we are going to add our chickpea flour, which is about 1/2 cup, and 3 tablespoons of semolina. That's going there too. We're just dumping everything in there. And then we have a cup of all-purpose flour that's going to go in there. This is our turmeric and our black pepper. This is our baking powder. And we're going to add about 2 tablespoons, 1, 2 of oil, and we're just going to mix this all together. Now we still have got some liquid. We still have got some liquid from our zucchini, even though we're squeezing a lot of it out. We still have got some liquid there. Okay. You all are going to laugh at me, but I may have squeezed a little too much of that liquid out because these need to have kind of like you want it to look like you've mixed your vegetables in a batter. So I'm just going to add just a touch of water to it. Okay. Here we go. This is great. Now I have not added any salt to this. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this. I'm curious who is signed on tonight? Who is here with me? We've got our faithfuls, like Yolande Melbourne is usually on. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of my salt to this. This is probably going to be about a teaspoon. I'm going to work that through. All right. This looks great. Rinse my hands again. So you can use spray oil or you can use a little bit of traditional oil. I'm going to use a little bit of the traditional oil in the pan. I'm using a non-stick pan, so my oil is going to go a long way. I'm using a portion scoop so they can all come out the same size. And you all know what I say about that. I like things to be the same size so they cook evenly and then your end product is beautiful. All right, so here we go. We've heated that up over medium-high heat, I would say. And I've got a nice big pan, so I'm going to be able to get several of these in here. My aunt is next door. She's in my office on the phone, and I'm sure she has no idea that she's speaking so loudly, but I can hear everything that she's saying. By the way, I've had a great time with my aunt. She is the matriarch of our family. She is the oldest living of the McLeod sisters. And I learned how to make quite a few traditional dishes this week. And I'm so excited because I feel like she has passed the torch to me. Those of you who are familiar with things like black cake, I learned how to make black cake this week. I learned how to make a split pea cook-up rice, which is a great vegan dish, actually. It has split yellow peas in it, rice, a little bit of coconut milk, some thyme, onion, tomatoes, things like that. You can also make it with black-eyed peas and spinach. So it's a really delicious one-pot meal. And it's just been great. It's been great. You know, I always encourage you all to explore your culture and look for those dishes and those meals that are actually vegan dishes or easily adaptable to a vegan lifestyle. And so I found that quite a bit in my Guyanese culture, which is my mother's side of the family. So these are in the pan, and you can see they're cooking very nicely. Go back. Yep. You've got about 4 of these in the pan. This recipe will probably make about 6. But I've got 4 in the pan right now. And I'm just going to leave them alone for a few minutes and let them cook. So I don't know if you all, how many of you follow me outside of Reclaiming Your Health, but I am actually a private chef as well. And I work with athletes. I work with celebrities, and it's really, really fun because these are individuals who understand the importance of health, and that's why they hire me. And it's been really, really fun introducing people that have really no idea how plant-based food works to it, and they love it. They love it. I'm working with a football player now. The other day I made the walnut lentil tacos for him. He absolutely loved them. And he's somebody who says he doesn't like lentils or beans or anything like that. So that was really great. And it's just little steps. And so I'm hoping that, you know, this guy is going to become a spokesperson for plant-based living, and his entire football team, the New Orleans Saints, will all be vegan, which is a tall order because it's New Orleans. And, you know, that's a big food city. And the food that they eat is really like the complete opposite of what I'm doing. But I've got one, so we'll see. So this is coming along nicely. Coming along nicely. Now, as I'm looking at the texture of this, I do believe that this could work in an air fryer. If it were more runny, I would say no. So what I would suggest is, if you did this in an air fryer, make sure you spray the basket, or if you have an inset that goes in, make sure you spray that really well. And then do this, I would say probably about 375 degrees for about 12 minutes. And I think you would have a home run. If this were runnier, I would not suggest that, but because this is really, it's not loose, I think that this would be a great something to try. So somebody should try that and let me know. Let me know how it turns out. So I am back home for a little bit because my aunt is visiting, and I was excited to be with you all tonight because next week I will not be here either. So I said, I need to make sure that I see my people and say hello and see how they're doing. So is anybody signed on? Can I see who's there this evening? Anybody there? Or is it just me and Stanley tonight? Let's see, is anybody on? Oh, this is browning up really nice. And you don't want to cook these quickly, you know, because we do. Hey, Shauna, great. So we don't want these to cook quickly because we do have, you know, we do have the chickpea flour, we do have the semolina, we do have the all-purpose flour. So we want those things to, we want them to heat through and cook through. So this is not something that, you know, you're cooking for 1 to 2 minutes on each side and you're done. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it's worth the wait. So what I have been doing is just lifting it up a little bit and peeking to see how it's coming along. I've turned my heat up a little bit. This nonstick pan is great. If anything I can suggest to you all is to get a nonstick pan and or use nonstick spray. If you want to limit the amount of oil that you consume, that's one of the best ways of doing it. So you can cheat a little bit. You can have your foods that are a little bit of pan frying every now and then, but you're reducing the amount of oil that you're actually consuming. All right, this is looking great. These have got a beautiful golden brown color. I don't know if you all have noticed in some of your pans and on some of your cooktops, there's certain areas that are hotter than the others. And so I always say to kind of move them around the pan, just check, because you don't want one to be undercooked, underbrowned, and one is like really, really dark. That happens sometimes on stoves. Okay, so I've just flipped one. And I'm just going to press it down just a little bit. There's another one. Oh, these are looking great. These are looking great. You know, growing up, the only way I knew to eat zucchini that wasn't just like steamed zucchini was in zucchini bread. And what's in zucchini bread? Whole bunch of eggs, whole bunch of sugar, whole bunch of, oil and stuff like that. So this is a way to incorporate zucchini into your diet without all those things. All right. These are coming along well, and I have a little space now since I flipped them. So I'm going to put the last two in there, last two or three. One. Oh, actually, I have like 2.5. Righty. We're going to have a baby one over here on the side. So this is a simple dish. I mean, this can be the dish. What's wrong with a vegetable plate? I remember when I first went to visit my brother at Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama in the 80s. There was a place called Piccadilly. I think it was a cafeteria called Piccadilly. And that was the first time that I learned about the concept of a vegetable plate. And so, if you didn't eat meat or you didn't feel like eating meat that particular day, you could have 3 vegetables. And so, you would have your okra and your greens and your corn, things like that. But that's not something that people are really familiar with. I guess people feel like in order to have a balanced meal, you must have meat protein, you must have some kind of starch, and you must have, a vegetable. Well, I say make vegetables the meal. So this is a great way to do that. I mean, I have fixed, for you all, we've done the grilled vegetables. We've done oven roasted veggies that will have kind of a sweetness to them. And then you're going to have like a more savory with this. You could totally do a vegetable plate. You could simply take some mushrooms with some fresh herbs, a little bit of plant butter, and saute those up, and you could have a delicious meal. So challenge yourself to think of different ways to have a meatless plate. Do it for Meatless Monday, do it for Taco Tuesday, do it for any day of the week. So these are coming along nicely. We just peek underneath. Added these other ones in here. I may have to add just a touch more oil to this. Just a touch. A couple of drops here and there. Because that will contribute to the crispiness of these. Again, we try the air fryer. These are looking great. We are on the verge of plating, people. And let me tell you what we have this evening to plate. I made a really simple cucumber yogurt dip. And that was made from plant-based yogurt, plain plant-based yogurt. And I took some cucumber and I minced it. And I did just a little squirt of lemon juice, a little bit of salt. And so that's how we have our, what Indians would call like a raita, R-A-I-T-A. So we have that. And then I made a tomato raisin chutney as well. So we're kind of taking it, going like, we're going to, you know, India with this evening, which is part of my culture as well. My grandmother was half Madras Indian and half Black. She was from, at that time, it was known as British Guyana. And so I have a particular affinity to all things Indian. What is our time looking like? Just a few minutes left. So I'm going to get ready to plate. We've got one of my favorite plating bowls here. Just put some things back since we have a little time. Okay. That cucumber and vegan, oh yes, it is. It is. It's so good. You know, there are times when people add a little pepper to it, they add a little heat. But I like mine just kind of creamy and a little tangy. So that's what you see right here. You see that? This is our raita. So I have some diced cucumber in here. I have a little bit of scallion, just a little bit of lemon juice, pinch of salt. And then I have my tomato raisin chutney. This is super simple to make. I will share that with you all sometime. And when these come out the fire, I'm going to put them on paper towels just to take a little bit of that excess oil off. And then we will plate them. So let's see. These look great. Nice and golden brown. And I'm so happy that I left the skin on because it's given these kind of like a bright green color, which I think is great. All right. So what I'm going to do this evening, we're actually going to put these here. So we can get a little bit of the oil off of them. 3. No, and this is a very inexpensive meal as well. That's something that we always try to do when we're planning your health, is we try to find meals that are not going to break the bank. They're good for you, they don't cost a lot, and they're easy to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my tomato raisin chutney. I'm going to put it on the base. You all can see that? Yeah, we're going to just put that on the base. You can make this chunky. I actually gave this a twirl in my bullet just to kind of smooth it out a little bit. All right. We've got a little bit of the oil off of this. And now I'm just going to put them right in the center. Ooh, that looks beautiful already. Right in the center. And we're just going to stack them up. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And to this, I'm just going to do a dollop of this right on top. Now, if you want to, you could always then, just put some pieces of coriander on it, cilantro. Ah, this looks so good. And I'm sure it's going to be yummy. Ladies and gentlemen, zucchini fritters. Look at that. Does that not look delicious? We've got a beautiful tomato raisin chutney on the bottom. We've got 3 nice crispy zucchini fritters, and then we've got a plant-based, vegan, dairy-free cucumber raita on top. And then we just sprinkled some cilantro leaves on top. Reclaiming your health every week, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It is such a pleasure seeing you all this week. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Here is to your health. Bye-bye.